What's up, everyone? All right, so it's been about 3 months now of owning the G550, and today I'm going to talk about the 7 things that I've come to hate about this car. Believe it or not, this car is, as cool as it is, it's not perfect. It's got a few issues that have been driving me nuts. So let's talk about issue number 1. I want to go ahead and get in. Got the keys in my pocket right now. Doesn't care. It doesn't know. And so that means every time I want to get in this car, I've got to get the keys out of my pocket. I've got to figure out which pocket they're in. Here they are, and then unlock it. So that's the first thing. It doesn't automatically unlock just because you're near it. The second thing is that this happens all the time. I go to close the door, and that's not closed. That's not closed. That's closed. So with this one, it's so easy just to close it like that, and it's got to go all the way. So, you know, it seems little, but when you're used to driving a lot of these cars that have the auto closed doors, the ones that close for you, you know, this being so heavy is really taking a little bit of getting used to. All right, so those are the 2 things on the, I guess the exterior that I hate about this car. And now we're gonna jump inside and talk about the 5 things on the inside that are driving me nuts. All right, so now that we're on the inside and we're driving, we're gonna talk about the next thing that drives me crazy about this car. This is the one that I find the most annoying. It is lane departure. And it bothers me every single day. Every single day I have to do this. When I turn on the car, I've got to press this button right by my knee, press it and hold it to turn off the lane keeping assist. Otherwise, every time I hit a yellow line, not only does the steering wheel vibrate, it slows down the car and steers me back into the lane. And we live, you know, in the country roads, it's rural, and so I'm finding all the time that, you know, I hit the center lane, or the yellow line, and it slows me down and pushes me back in. I even had a day, this was not long after I had the car, where there was a bicyclist over on the side, and I was coming onto the yellow line to give the bicyclist space, and it slowed me down and brought me back in. And, you know, it's like, come on, this is ridiculous. I've been driving a car for, you know, since I was 14, 15 years old. I think I can figure out how to, you know, stay in my lane. So the lane assist, that drives me nuts. So every time I get in the car, I gotta press this, hold it down for, I guess for a couple seconds, long enough for the light to go out. And, you know, it's the same thing with the automatic start and stop when you come to a light, but that doesn't bother me too much. That one, you just press it once and it's off. You don't have to press and hold. And it's not as disturbing or as kind of disrupting while I'm driving, you know, compared to the lane assist. All right, so that's that's the first on the interior. That's number 3. Number 4, and this one got me just the other day. So in the MB Mercedes Benz vehicle settings, you can go in here and you can change things under the assistance menu, including active lane assist. Although the only 2 options are standard or adaptive, so you can't turn it off. Now in my E63, I was able to turn it off completely, which was awesome. That's what I want. I want to be able to turn it off, but can't do that in this car. So under active brake assist, you can turn it off, but every time you turn it off, every time you turn the car back on, it goes back to medium. And so what happened a couple days ago is I'm driving down the road and I see a car with its blinker on and it's turning. And for whatever reason, the way we kind of lined up, as it's turning, I'm kind of going around it, and the car slams on its brakes. And I'm like, what is going on? And, you know, we've got snow here all the time in the winter. The last thing I want the car doing is locking up the brakes because, you know, it sees something up ahead that, you know, is an issue. or thinks it's an issue. So that's the second thing that that really drives me nuts. And those are the two that I find to be the most intrusive, because I'm trying to drive, I'm trying to do my thing, and the car is steering for me when I hit the yellow line, or it's slamming on the brakes when it thinks that there's something that is causing an issue. And I mean, I think, if I, had a 15-year-old kid and he or she was learning how to drive, I think I'd probably want these settings turned on. But for someone who's been driving their whole life, come on, and there it goes again. I tap the yellow line for a second, I'm on a narrow country road, and, boom, it's telling me to get back in my lane. So right there, so now I just had to fight it because I didn't want to hit those two people on the side of the road. Perfect example. This car would rather have me take out those two people than cross the yellow line, which is extremely annoying. I mean, that you shouldn't have to fight with your car, and I just had to fight with it. All right, so I wish I could disable that permanently, but can't be done. Every single time you turn on the car, you got to press that button. All right, now those are the four kind of big things. The door, the unlocking, and then the two things with the driving. The next few things are a little nitpicky, I'll admit. Of course, this is a $150,000 car with the options that I got on it, so I think I can afford to be a little nitpicky. But the next one is that there's no touchscreen. Every other car, my mom's Subaru, has a touchscreen, and this doesn't have a touchscreen. It's got this beautiful big glass screen, but I can only navigate it through, my little mouse that's kind of next to me here, or this spin wheel. And again, I find that to be really frustrating because, I want to very quickly the way you would with an iPad or with anything else, and can't do it. It's not an option. All right, now so let's see. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 6, and this one again is going to be a little on the nitpicky side. This car has ambient lighting. So there's ambient lighting all around the edges. It's really cool when you're driving at night. You've got this nice glow, and it shifts from dark blue to magenta. It kind of like does this oscillating stuff. I think it's really cool, and I can go into the light settings here, again under the Mercedes, the vehicle, and then under light settings, and then I can go down here to ambient lighting, and I can change all the settings. What's annoying, and this wasn't the case on the E63, is that right along this bottom panel right here, there's a set of ambient lights that wrap around this whole console. But these ones down here, I don't know if it's my car that has the problem. I'm going to ask them when I bring it to the garage next time, or if it's just all of them, but I can see the LED strip. So instead of having this nice relaxing glow, I've got each one of the little LED bulbs blasting my eyes. So what I end up doing is going into the panel and going to the display and turning it all the way to 0. Why is it not going? There we go. So I turn it all the way to 0. That way it doesn't annoy me while I'm driving at night. So, and again, like I'll admit that that's a little bit nitpicky, but it's one of those things that has kind of been annoying me a little bit about the car. So yeah. So anyways, and then the last thing. This is a more expensive car than my Range Rover, and I think I was kind of hoping that it would be like driving it would just be like really smooth. Granted, this is a lot smoother than 2019 versus the old model of the G-Class, but the first thing I noticed when I started driving it was because it's got a little bit of a shorter wheelbase, it felt like I felt the bumps more. And this doesn't have an air suspension. So the Range Rover has a hydraulic suspension it's an air suspension. So it lowers the height of the vehicle when you pull into park, so you can get in and out very easily. This car, you got to kind of use the running boards and step up into it. But then because it's also, the Range Rover's got the air suspension, it just feels like a cloud. And it's so smooth. So, you know, we got this car and, you know, I've been loving it, but I just feel like I'm bouncing around in it a lot more. And when we drive down to New York City, we take the Taconic, it's a little bit bumpy. And, you know, it's not something I was expecting. So, so that's number 7. The ride is a little bit bumpy. So, you know, let's refresh. Number 1, no power opening automatically on the doors. Number 2, the doors are heavy and they don't automatically close. Number 3, we've got the lane assist, can't turn it off. Number 4, we've got the braking assist, can't turn it off. Number 5, we've got the touch screen, which it doesn't exist, which is annoying. Number 6, we've got the LED panel that seems maybe on my car just to be not done properly, because I had the same exact screen on the E63 and it was great. So I think it's my car and I'm going to bring it to the shop. And then number 7, you know, kind of a little bit bumpy. Again, this is me critiquing an awesome car. This car is awesome. It really is. And it handles super well. It feels solid. It feels like a tank. Because it doesn't have the hydraulic suspension or the air suspension, it's probably going to have less problems. The Range Rover's gone in several times for service on the air suspension. So, you know, you kind of have to probably get a trade-off there of which one, you know, you want to go for. But anyways, you know, if I was going to do it all over again, I would still buy this car, but I'd keep the Range Rover, and when it's time to get a new car, I'll probably get a new Range Rover, or maybe check out the Bentley Bentayga. You know, I'd like to test drive it. I've heard that that W12 is pretty crazy. So, you know, maybe check that out. But I just kind of like the feeling of being in like the land yacht. You know, the big car, the boat feeling. And this has it, but not in the suspension. So, anyways, hope that's kind of a cool update for you guys that have been asking me questions and want to know what it's like to drive the G550. All right, see you guys later. What's up, everyone? All right, well, if you made it to the end of this video, you must also be a tire kicker just like me. So hit that subscribe button and come over to tirekickers.com to check out some articles that I've written about some of my favorite cars, including that 23 window 1961 VW bus.